Thank you for tuning in to the Mayfield City Schools ALICE training video for Mayfield middle and high school students and staff. This video focuses on the strategies we have in place to address a school threat. Safety and security in our schools is our top priority. We know that keeping our students and staff safe and having them feel safe is critical to maintaining a proper learning environment. We are fortunate to have the partnership of the Mayfield Heights, Mayfield Village, Highland Heights, and Gates Mills police and fire departments to help us address school safety. I proudly stand today with our 4 police chiefs, Chief Mealy, Mayfield Heights, Chief Matthias, Mayfield Village, Chief Matasik, Highland Heights, and Chief Minicello, Gates Mills, as we learn more about our safety and security protocols in our schools.
It is an honor and a privilege to work with Mayfield City Schools to keep our students and community safe.
I want the school community to know that our work with the school district remains a top priority.
We pride ourselves in maintaining our relationship with Mayfield Schools in order to provide school safety training for our police force and the students and staff of Mayfield City Schools.
Our partnership enhances our quick response to any school safety concern.
Now, let's learn a little more from our principal at Mayfield High School, Mr. Brian Lynn, who will introduce our school threat safety protocol, which is called ALICE.
ALICE is an acronym that helps guide our response to a situation that involves a threat of violence in our schools. Each letter represents a set of actions to take in the event that we have a school threat. The first letter in ALICE is the letter A, which stands for alert. Students and staff may be alerted to a safety situation in our buildings through the PA system, from the main office, classroom phones, or two-way radio. In addition, each school building in the district has a MARCS radio, which is Ohio's multi-agency radio communications system for first responders. When the MARCS radio is engaged, the law enforcement agencies of the area will be dispatched to that school. While those are examples of formal alerts from school staff, there are also other ways you could be put on alert to a school safety concern. For example, a loud or unusual noise or unusual presence in the building may also be something that causes concern. All alerts should be taken seriously and acted upon appropriately. It's important that we all stay alert to the people and sounds around us. You may be the first one to suspect danger and alert others to a situation. As a reminder, doors should always remain locked and should never be propped open, and all visitors are required to report to the main office. At Mayfield City Schools, we promote see something, say something. That means we all own the responsibility to alert others if something is not right. If you're a student and you see something that feels dangerous or suspicious, go right to a teacher, staff member, or your principal and say something. Staff members, if you see something, it is your responsibility to alert through your building's alert system, whether that be notifying the office, using the PA system, classroom phone, two-way radio, email, or the most appropriate tool you have at your disposal. Alert is the first step in our emergency response to an act of aggression. Now, we are going to learn about the next letter in ALICE and what it stands for. The next letter in ALICE is the letter L, which represents lockdown. Let's hear from our own Mayfield High School Resource Officer, Matt Hosevar, to learn more about lockdown.
The letter L in our threat response protocol represents the concept of lockdown. To address the variety of emergency situations, Mayfield City Schools has a 3-level security notification system. Level 1 is secure in place. This means our staff and students will continue their normal school day, including class changes and lunch. The biggest impact the Level 1 lockdown has is the limitation on students being allowed outside of the school building, field trips may be suspended, and visitors will be limited. Level 2 is lockdown. Lockdown is a result of a disturbance in or near the school building. This requires students to remain in their current classroom with no student or staff traffic in the hallways. No visitors are permitted in the building and field trips are suspended. The most severe safety concern would result in a Level 3 security notification in our ALICE response. A Level 3 ALICE response results from the immediate and very serious safety concerns within the building. A Level 3 lockdown requires all staff and students to initiate an ALICE response. A Level 3 ALICE lockdown means danger is most likely in the building and staff and students should begin to do what is necessary to protect themselves. At this level, staff will have the option to lock doors and engage deadbolts, which will effectively keep anyone from entering the room. Depending on the information available at the time, this is also when staff should decide to counter any danger or evacuate the building if it could be done safely. While we all hope we never have to engage these tools, it is important that we remain alert and practice swift lockdown procedures when directed to do so. Also, remember, if you are in a level 3 Alice lockdown and you are in a room, you are to remain as quiet as possible. You do not want anyone to know people are in the room. Now let's learn about the next letter in Alice, which is the letter I. The letter I stands for inform. Mr. Destino, principal at Mayfield Middle School, will explain more about how you will get the information you need to make the best possible decisions.
The letter I in Alice stands for inform. During an emergency situation, it is our job in the main office to provide as much information as possible. Depending on your building systems, you may receive information through the PA system, email, or text message. We will use clear, simple, and plain language to communicate as much information we know about the situation, including sharing an intruder's location, movement, and any action you should take. Once a lockdown threat has been identified, we will remain in contact with the law enforcement partners and closely monitor any activity on our cameras and relay important information to you. It is also very possible that you will have more information than the main office staff. We encourage everyone during a time of crisis to share the information you have available in a clear and direct way, whether that be through a 911 call, a call to the office, or a text message to an administrator. We want our staff and students to utilize the information they learn from school officials and law enforcement so they can make the best decisions possible to remain safe. As a staff member or student, it is your responsibility in the emergency response to listen for information. Remember, information may be relayed through formal methods using announcements, emails, or text messages. However, please also utilize informal information which could be through sounds or noises. Simply put, please use all the information at your disposal and be empowered to make the best decisions to protect your safety. Staff and students, the next concept in Alice is counter. I'd like to introduce Mayfield Middle School School Resource Officer Joe Lesovic to explain counter in the Alice response means.
If you are in an immediate path of danger, you may rely on the letter C in Alice to protect yourself. The letter C means to counter the emergency or intruder situation. During counter, you will need to do anything you can to get the intruder to stop. Listening to the alerts, getting into lockdown, and following the information you have will protect you in most circumstances. Please know that countering a person who is posing a threat is always a last response. Countering an intruder means you are taking an active role in your defense. Countering an attack might include creating noise, moving around the room, or adding distance between you and the perpetrator. The goal in this stage of our emergency response is to make it harder for the intruder to cause harm. Countering does not necessarily mean fighting the intruder. During safety drills this year, your principal and teachers will discuss different ways you can counter back at an immediate threat. Our elementary students have trained in Alice with age-appropriate videos and materials. We will leave you with this thought. The most important thing you can do during an active threat is to get as far away from the intruder as possible. While you are creating distance, consider how you can add obstacles to stop the threat from your path of safety. Now for the last protocol of Alice, E, is for evacuate. Evacuating to a place of safety is always the number one option during a threat of violence. Mayfield's Associate Principal for Consortium Programs, Mrs. Elsing, who will explain the concept of evacuation.
The last letter of Alice is the letter E. The letter E represents the protocol to evacuate. Simply put, evacuate means leave the building as soon as it is possible and safe to do so, and get into a safe and secure location. This is an important step if staff and students are notified of a Level 3 Alice lockdown. In each classroom and office within our buildings, there are maps indicating the safest evacuation routes in case of an emergency, along with phones present in every classroom. Depending on the information given to you about the emergency, you may decide another path of evacuation is best. Use any means to evacuate if it is safe. For example, if the safest exit is through a window, break the window and exit to safety. find the safest path and distance away from the scene. District representatives will provide updates as often as possible about where to go. But even if you forget where you should go, we want you to know that if you have determined that evacuation is the safest option, then you do that. Evacuate. We would rather you exit to a safe location and then work to reunify once the threat has been addressed and it is over. Although we know students and families will want to be reunited as soon as possible after an emergency, we also know this process may take time. Protecting yourself will be our top priority in an emergency. If you do leave the building, stay calm, prioritize safety, and understand that we will work as fast as we can to ensure everyone gets to where they need to be.
We want to thank everyone for watching this video on Alice.
Learning about the process and reflecting on the steps you can take will help keep our building, students, and staff safe.
Remember, if you see something suspicious, say something.
Safety is everyone's responsibility in our community, and we are grateful for your commitment and partnership.
Thank you again for watching this video on school safety. We will continue to invest in the tools and resources to keep our staff and students safe at school.